to hear from createyourfuture.co. So today we have Ani joining us. Hi, Ani.
Hi, guys.
All right, so we have a really exciting success story. It's how she went from no contact for like a year to basically him showing up on her doorstep with a bunch of flowers. Like, oh my goodness. So first of all, that's the first thing. I intend, my SP brings me flowers for no reason. So a couple things that we're going to answer in this video after we read the success story is the question of, how long, is how long is too long to manifest somebody, as well as how often do you need to do your intentions. So yeah, we'll dive into that, and of course more like usual. So yeah, Ani.
Yes. So my client had not spoken to her SP, the love of her life, for over a year, and she was giving up pretty much. And we talked about it and how everyone as you pushed out works and all of that. And the homework I gave her was, first thing when you wake up in the morning, I want you to start your day off, like set it up for success pretty much. Set up your day, your thoughts, sit down, spend 20 minutes writing down in your notebook what you're happy and grateful for now and what you desire from SP. So I'm so happy and grateful, and this did not happen yet, but we set it up like this. So I'm happy and grateful that he finally reached out and he's in communication with me. We're talking about everything that's happened in the last year that we did not speak, so as if it's already done. And make sure, guys, whoever's gonna write down notes, make sure you do say I'm happy and grateful, because you're attaching a feeling to it, so that's gonna manifest too, right?
Exactly. You know what? I know all too well. Every morning I have my little cards here. Actually, I've got more. That's not even all of them. These are the current 3 that I'm working on right now. So, and I write down, and every morning I go through these intentions, and they're usually stuff that I'm working on. But the other important time to do your intentions is all throughout the day, whenever you think of the person. At first it's going to seem like a lot, like you're really like crazy and obsessed about it, and it's like that's all you think about. But you're right, it is. I mean, if you're going to think about them anyway, like you're not doing an intention to bring them to your mind. You're doing the intention because they came to your mind. So if you feel like you're doing intentions a lot, that's because you're thinking about them a lot. And you need to start changing the patterns, the thought patterns of what we think about them. So in the morning, fill your mind with it. And then throughout the day, anytime you think of the person or the situation, do some intentions. Especially if it was a negative thought, do the opposite of that thought that's in line with what you want. Okay, so don't do the opposite of the thought if it's not in line with what you want. I mean, make the thought in line with what you want, right? Maybe the opposite. Sometimes it may just be a variation of what you said, right? So very important. Yeah,
I 1000% agree with, you have to constantly do it, and you will probably feel delusional, but it's okay, because what you're doing, it's like this transition period. You're switching from a mental diet that you weren't really aware of negative thoughts, victim thoughts, what if it doesn't work out, questioning, doubts, all of this. You're transitioning into, I'm the creator of my reality. I gotta substitute those thoughts with these new thoughts, because that's what's been manifesting so far. That's not what I prefer. I prefer this new version, and I'm gonna persist in it so much until it shows up. What I would say to those who have a difficulty of just thinking it like throughout the day, like if you're having trouble just thinking that, okay, it's gonna work out, I'm God of my reality, don't even struggle. Just sit down and use that time just to write everything out, because writing it out is still you pretty much imprinting it into your subconscious.
Exactly. I do that when I'm spiraling out of control, right? I'll also, if I'm working on my daily intentions that I do every morning to reaffirm them, also they're at my desk, obviously, like you see, I just grabbed them again. I'll read them out throughout the day. Like last night, something came up and I had to come into my office, into my computer here, and to do something. And then while I was here, I just quickly grabbed my intentions. I just quickly read them off the page, right? And then Andrew's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I had something to do." He's like, "Well, what are you reading?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm just quickly just, reading these, like, because I'm here. I just seen them." So, you can never do enough of them. So, mental diet is basically making sure that all of your thoughts, whenever you have them on the person, is in line with exactly what you want. So you can never do your intentions too much. The more you do them, the better, the quicker you're going to make this happen, right? As long as their thoughts are all focused on what you want. The other question is, does it matter how long you've had no contact with them? Like, does it matter at all?
It does not matter. It does not. I remember one of our first videos together. I manifested a girl I used to go to 3rd grade with, and it's been like 20 years since I've seen her. And I thought of her, and she just bumped into me at the doctor's office. So that was 20 years.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, exactly. Time does not matter. Time is something that is basically just a construct, but it doesn't even matter. If you just basically look at it this way, okay, every single thought that you have, okay, makes a picture in your subconscious mind. And then your subconscious mind basically beams that out to all of the particles in the world. And then all of a sudden, okay, so I picture a dog, all of a sudden the world, just the particles, all the atoms just go into the shape of a dog. That's it. That's all that happens. So whether it's been 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 years, 20 years, or you've never met the person, it doesn't matter. All these principles are the same. If you basically say, look, I've never met the person, I don't even know if a person like this out there exists. You say, no, I intend that this person off my list exists. And then all of a sudden, the universe will, rearrange to make that person happen, right? So like, for instance, the funny thing is in my list with Andrew is I wrote out that all these things that I wanted in, in a guy, and everyone knows he's a lawyer, but he's also really funny. And he said to me, it's really odd that lawyers are funny. He's like, it's not a regular thing. And I was like, oh, I'm like, wow. I'm like, there you go. It just goes to show that somehow my thoughts went out there and created something that usually isn't, that isn't usually the personality type of, of family law lawyers or whatever, right? So, but it doesn't matter if you've never met the person or they haven't met you. Somehow, if you intend that you guys are going to get together, okay, even if it's a celebrity, the universe, meaning particles out there, will rearrange themselves to make that happen for you, right? Because you have the complete power in your quantum bubble. Everything will rearrange to get you on that stage with Oprah. Everything will rearrange to get you on that stage with Ellen. Everything will rearrange to get you meeting Robert Downey Jr. Like, it doesn't matter. It'll all rearrange for you. It just like boom, right? One thing will lead to another, and somehow, boom, you're there, right? So we only put the celebrity on the pedestal, but making it harder. But it's not. They're a regular person, just like everybody else, right? They're made of the same particles of you and me, right? So once we take a look at that and just bring it to that level, it's like time doesn't matter. Who it is doesn't matter either. It doesn't.
It doesn't. And one thing I get asked a lot is, well, do I have to believe? Like, if I'm writing down that I'm so happy and grateful that he contacted me and now we're in constant communication, do I have to believe that? Because the first thought that comes to mind is, well, I don't have that now. You do not have to believe it, but you do have to persist in it. Here's why.
But also you have to fight that it's not here. I don't have that now. You have to fight that thought though, but go on. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. You, whatever's giving you the force that's orchestrating everything for you to actually experience it in your 3D, that force does not care if you're saying it because it's really happening or it's because you're saying it because you're imagining and you're feeling that thought, right? In that moment, it doesn't care. It doesn't say, let me double check if it's really happening, because if it's really happening, then I'll give it to her. But if it's not happening, I'm going to make it a struggle. It doesn't work that way. It just says, what are you focused on? If you're focused on this consistently and persisting with this thought, I have no other way than to just show it, to give it to you.
Yeah. You know what? Exactly. Your brain doesn't know if you're dreaming or if it's really happening to you, because it's all the same for your subconscious mind. It's just when we see things at our eyes, which really comes in this way, but we think it goes that way, we perceive it as real, right? But our brain doesn't know the difference of you visualizing and thinking about it as to you seeing it out here. Now, do you need to believe what you're creating? No, but you do need to believe that your thoughts create. This is very important. Okay, I did not believe. If you told me I would be where I am today 5 years ago, I wouldn't have believed you. But obviously, I've created those intentions, and obviously, I've gotten myself here. And there's always a little bit of a point that we don't believe our intentions. You know why? Because we wouldn't be so excited when it manifested if we believed we would have had it, right? You know, that's where that feeling. But you've got to believe your thoughts create. So here's the fight in your head. Okay, so your first thought is, oh, you know, I intend he calls me. Okay, but I don't believe this because we're not talking now. But you have to say, no, but I believe it's possible because I know my thoughts create. End of fight in your head. But that's what a mental diet is. You may have that ping pong, but you can't let the disbelief of something happening prevail as a thought, because that's going to block it. Okay, you have to believe in yourself, your thoughts, the law. You can't just say, well, I don't believe it because I don't have it now, and leave it like that. You're blocking it. Okay, you've got to tell yourself, no, but you know what? I do believe my thoughts create, and I do believe that this is possible, right? At least bring it to that point, right? So you've got to watch the thoughts in here, right? So, you know, that's why you say, if you ask me, do you need to believe it? No, you don't need to believe you'll be a billionaire in 5 years, but do you need to believe that your thoughts create and that it's possible? Absolutely, right?
Yes, yes.
You know?
And it's kind of a relief, you know, when you keep telling yourself, like, well, all I need to know is that my thoughts create, that's where my power is, right? It takes a lot of weight off your shoulders, because we are so action-based people. We're always like, I gotta control every single situation. I gotta make sure everything's in the right place at the right time. I have to take action. You don't. That's all an illusion. Like, we've just been taught that because we're just taught, like, you to have no power. Like, it is what it is. Life is just what it is. You have to deal with it. You don't.
Right. We don't deal with it. We create it because we're
creative. Yes.
Powerful creators, guys. We are amazingly powerful creators. It's so amazing. But you know, that's just really what it comes to is you know, believing in yourself, believing in your thoughts creating. You know, it's funny today. I was just walking around. I left the office here as it was Thanksgiving in Canada, so I'm making turkey soup from, you know, I'm being like a homemaker today, right? Like, oh, you know, healthy and stuff. So I go and I'm walking through my house, and I'm like, earlier today, I recorded a video, and some of the intentions we've added in there where I intend to see that I create my reality, and I intend, you know, to see everyone's me pushed out. And as I was walking in my office into the kitchen there, I was like looking, and I see all these reminders. This teddy bear that was sitting there that I intended Andrew would bought me everything in here I pretty much intended, and you know, and everything around, and I was like, wow, you know what, everything in here is my creation, you know, and it's just when you stop and you really just dwell on it for a second and go, wait a minute, you know, I created all this with my mind. When we go back to that and remind ourselves of that, it's like, wait a minute, you know what, I can create this. Like, bring yourself back there. Remember when you've created something, you know, and right then and there, once you're in that state of remembering, oh, that teddy bear, Andrew got it for me for Valentine's Day. Like, I remember intending that too, because we were together for 3 years. The first time he got me a teddy bear, right? And I was like, well, you know what? Everyone's you pushed out. Is he going to call me? Yes. You know, because now there's no fight, because you're like, okay, you've got yourself back in that feeling rather than, you know, doubt. And it happens to all of us. I mean, every once in a while, like, I wake up and I'm like, there's no way I create my reality, right? But, you know, you just got to bring yourself back to that state of knowing, right, that you do. And that'll help the ping pong match in the head, like, big time. Like, you won't have a fight. If you said, if I create intention right now in this state, there is no fight. I'm like, you know,
yeah,
what's gonna happen? Right?
It's it does take a little bit of work. I won't lie. It takes work because you have a lot of opposing thoughts, right? So you got to make sure you're going in with way more thoughts that serve you. It's like it's kind of like war. So imagine going to war with like 10 people when you know the opposing side has 10,000.
Right, exactly.
Gotta prepare yourself.
Right, every one negative thought, I'll do 3, or not even negative. every thought that I have that I don't want to create, I'll do 3 just to sort of cancel it out, right? So let's go on to, how do you manifest flowers from somebody? Well, first of all, you start with the intention that so-and-so is going to buy you flowers and drop them off to your door. That's going to be the first thing. The second thing, visualize it, script it. How is it going to look, right? And I would say the third thing that you could do is take all of the circumstances that you think matter, okay? Write them down and then change them into a positive intention, okay? Like a positive statement. So it's been too long since we've been in contact. No, you know what? It doesn't matter. He's probably forgotten about me. No, I'm always on his mind, right? Go through all those circumstances that you think are going to block these flowers from coming and change them into intentions that put you in alignment with the flowers coming. And I say, guys, test this, and then take the 20 minutes every morning, like Ani said, okay, and focus on this, okay, to start your day off with that. And then also, whenever you think of the person throughout the day, say they're going to bring me flowers, and it's going to happen now, because I've got 0 blocks and resistance, and it's going to happen. It's totally possible. Just flowers.
Yeah.
Right.
Everything is the same, guys. Nothing is more harder than like a free cup of coffee. So you can get your SP that you haven't talked to in a full year to come to your door with flowers and sit in your house and talk to you for the rest of the night, like nothing ever happened.
Exactly. And you know what? It also use your circumstances to your advantage. And here's a really good example and I used this once, I manifested an ex back, okay? And we weren't talking for 3 years. And I basically used that 3 years we weren't talking to say, oh, you know what? It's been a long time. He's totally over it. He totally forgives me. Do you know what I mean? So I used that 3 years to go, no, it's perfect. You know what? He's totally over it now. It's been too long. So use that time to get over whatever story that may be there, and, make sure that you clear up that history, right? So to speak, right? In those situations. But yeah, amazing.
I know, it's so good.
Ani's available for video coaching. Definitely check out the link in the description below. And guys, if you would like to ask me, Amanda, a question, then please sign up at the Patreon. I do answer the questions during the YouTube lives, and yeah, so that is amazing. I don't actually answer the questions in the YouTube chat because it's just not a very good forum for it. And over in the Patreon, it's just easier to organize, as well as it gives everybody a fair chance there as well. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for being here, Ani. You're amazing.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
And guys, thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, and for intending that our video quality would get better. We definitely appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.